The Paris Climate Accord is simply the latest example of Washington entering into an agreement that disadvantages the United States.
The U.S. is officially out of the Paris Climate Accord, meant to reduce carbon emissions. President Trump says now he'll start negotiations on an entirely new agreement that he says will be better for the United States and its workers. He says the current Paris Accord is causing job loss and lower pay for Americans.
The late afternoon announcement at the White House caused a firestorm of reaction from ex-presidents to CEOs to environmentalists.
And tonight we took our camera to an event where Nebraska's top elected official and the Omaha congressman both made an appearance. Reporter Maya Saenz is live with their reaction. Maya?
Craig, Jen, Governor Pete Ricketts and Congressman Don Bacon both support Trump's decision, but one of them says we should have stayed at the table to negotiate some of those regulations. Hours after President Trump announced the United States would be out of the Paris Climate Agreement, Governor Pete Ricketts and Congressman Don Bacon attended a Sarpy County GOP meeting where they defended Trump's decision.
President Trump made the right decision. The Paris Agreement was bad for the United States. It was a job-killing agreement that would have prevented us from really growing our country, and frankly, it was unnecessary.
I believe what the previous administration did was wrong, and that they passed this or agreed to do this with all these other nations and didn't run it by the House or Senate like we would do with treaties. And I felt like this was so important that I should have had congressional concurrence on.
Governor Ricketts said Trump's move will not affect Americans. He says the U.S. is a great steward of the environment.
Just here in Nebraska in particular, with things like the Monolith Materials Project, that is going to be the first utility scale hydrogen burning plant, I think, in the world, and that has no emissions that come from it. And if you look at our state, we have clean air, we have growing wind resources. We are a leader in protecting the environment.
While Congressman Bacon says the U.S. should have stayed in the agreement, but negotiated some of the regulations.
I think we could have said, hey, we're going to stay at the table, but we want to fix these certain benchmarks that we disagree with. These are voluntary benchmarks, and I think that we could have said, we want this fixed, we want this fixed, we want to do this differently, but still be a part of the Paris Agreement.
Both officials said regardless of the United States' decision to get out of the Paris Climate Agreement, Nebraska will continue to work on environmental conservation. Reporting live from the studio, Maya Saenz, 3 News Now.
Local Democrats are on the opposite side of the issue. Nebraska Party Chair Jane Klebb, the leader of the environmental group Bold Nebraska, called the move reckless. She added, any logical person knows expanding fossil fuels risks our land, water, and air.